This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 264, Varying Your Training Intensity and Stop Making Excuses About Time, both by Ross Enamait of rosstraining.com. And I'm Dr. Neil. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to Optimal Health Daily. This is where I act as your personal narrator and read to you from some of the best health and fitness blogs out there. And today, I'll be reading 2 posts for you. I'm going to keep this intro nice and short, so let's hear today's 2 posts as we optimize your life. Varying Your Training Intensity by Ross Enamait of rosstraining.com. Earlier this year, I shared a few tips about how to stay healthy and active as the years pass. To no surprise, I emphasized the importance of consistency. Consistent work and effort have always formed the backbone of my life. I've never been good at taking it easy. I'm an all-or-nothing person. If I'm working on something that matters to me, I don't know how to give less than 100%. The question, though, is, can you consistently give 100% without eventually running yourself into the ground? Struggling to reduce intensity. Most schools of thought encourage athletes to perform lighter sessions on occasion to facilitate recovery and prevent burnout. I too agree with this general premise. Constantly pushing yourself to the max each day with strenuous work is a recipe for failure. Such intensity cannot be sustained indefinitely. It's only a matter of time before the body begins to suffer. Unfortunately, recognizing the importance of lighter work isn't the same as applying it. Speaking for myself, I've always struggled to include lighter days. My temperament is one that always wants me to do more. There is no sense of accomplishment when I'm intentionally working with less intensity than I can apply. Pushing yourself with lighter work. The compromise that I've learned to make with myself is to perform lighter work that remains challenging. In other words, the work remains difficult, but there's no risk of beating my body down. I simply shift the focus away from strength and instead target another attribute. Exercises that I often perform on lighter days include shadow boxing, hitting a double end bag, and skipping rope. No matter how hard I go, my body isn't taking much abuse. There's no risk of overreaching or overtraining. When? I'm often asked when it makes sense to include lighter training days. Personally, I don't plan such days in advance. I've been training long enough to know when my body is asking for rest. Therefore, if I notice any signs of getting run down, I'll shift gears and include a lighter day or two. Such an approach might sound overly simple, but it really doesn't need to be any more complex. What? Just as I don't plan when to include a lighter day, I also don't spend much time planning what to perform on such a day. My lighter days are usually just a random mix of activities like those I just mentioned. I'll work for around 30 minutes and then finish with a few sets of calisthenics. Complete rest. Another question that I'm often asked is about complete rest. Does it make sense to include full days of rest during the week? Naturally, there's no single way to answer such a question. Every athlete is unique. We all have different schedules, goals, and needs. With that said, I prefer light work over complete rest. It is extremely rare that I don't perform some type of exercise or movement on a given day. Even if it's just a few minutes of hand-eye coordination training on a Sunday, I'll find time to do something. I always feel better as a result. Final thoughts. If you're anything like me and struggle to perform less intense work, perhaps you can implement some of the ideas I mentioned. It took me years to realize that I could still push myself hard with less intense work. Now that I've seen the light, I actually look forward to such days rather than dreading them like I did before. And as a member of the 40-plus crowd, I'm assuming that such work will continue to prove useful as the years pass. I take great pride in continuing to function like a younger athlete and believe that varying my intensity is one of the keys. I'm able to satisfy my need for a constant challenge without beating my body down. Stop Making Excuses About Time by Ross Enamait of rosstraining.com. It takes less time to do a set of push-ups than it does for you to explain why you don't have time. Busy times. As a father, business owner, and coach, I know all about busy times. It never seems like there is enough time to get everything done. With that said, I am fully aware that there are 86,400 seconds in a day. It takes less than 20 seconds to do a set of push-ups. You don't need to be a math expert to figure out that 5 sets would take less than 2 minutes. Does anyone honestly believe that they can't find a few 20-second blocks throughout the day? The time is there for us all. Not everyone is willing to prioritize what they'll do with their time, however. It's easy to sit in bed and browse through your phone instead. And before you get upset, I'm not here to judge you if that's what you choose. I don't believe in telling anyone how to live their life. Just don't waste my time with excuses about why you don't have time. Never gymless. Over the past few months, I've been extremely busy traveling back and forth between Ireland, England, and America. There's been plenty of long days with limited sleep and nowhere to train but the side of a hotel bed. I always find time, though. On some days, it might just be random sets of push-ups, squats, and rollouts with an ab wheel. I'm not paying attention to sets, reps, or any particular routine. It's just me cramming in whatever training I can whenever time permits. I've been truly living the never gymless lifestyle. And while such an approach may not seem ideal, you'll be surprised at how much can be accomplished when you push yourself with short sets throughout the day. As I've said many times before, something always beats nothing. You don't need an hour of uninterrupted time to achieve a quality workout. Final thoughts. To conclude this brief rant, we all have time for whatever is important to us. It just so happens that many people in today's world haven't yet learned to prioritize exercise. I'm not here to knock those people, but rather to help open their eyes. The busiest person and the laziest person in the world have at least one thing in common. Both operate within the confines of a 24-hour day. Both have the same 86,400 seconds. It's how you use those individual seconds that will ultimately determine what you accomplish each day and in life. The time is there if you want it. You just need to prioritize how you use it. You just listened to the posts titled Varying Your Training Intensity and Stop Making Excuses About Time, both by Ross Enamait of RossTraining.com. I am very much like Ross in the sense that if I'm headed to the gym or I'm starting a workout, if it's not intense, I don't feel like I did anything. When I don't do some activity during the day, I don't feel like myself. I have to do something, some sort of movement each day. Otherwise, I'm not myself. The problem for me was that I was overtraining. I would tend to get sick. I usually end up with like a cold or the flu that would knock me out for a week or two. And that's kind of how I learned that, you know what? You maybe need to slow down on certain days. For me, I actually do have 1 or 2 days per week, depending on how I feel, of mostly complete rest. Yes, I'll get up during the day. Of course, I'll do chores, maybe vacuum the house, something like that. But it's not a structured activity. When it comes to making excuses about time, that's probably the most common excuse I hear from both patients and clients, meaning those who have seen me for nutrition advice and tell me why they can't eat more healthfully, or those who are trying to lose weight or get more fit but don't have time to do those things. And again, it's better if I don't lecture them, I found, and say, well, you've got so many hours in the day. Look at me. I can find time to do it. So can you. You have to treat them like an adult, and I want to treat you all the same way. I've mentioned in previous podcasts where if you even want to incorporate a very brief workout and you want to watch TV, you can do that. During the commercials, do sit-ups. During the next commercial break, do push-ups. The commercial break after that, do squats. That's it. You can incorporate a workout so easily while you're doing something that you enjoy. And I'm a big fan of those no equipment workouts. Before you know it, you would have done 100 squats, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups without even realizing it. And that's the fun part. Probably the biggest challenge is putting that DVR remote away and not fast-forwarding through those commercials. But try it out and see what you think. Now, before I head out, if you want to join us online for some extra motivation, some tips, and lots more, join our Facebook group. You can search for Optimal Living Daily Podcasts on Facebook or go to the shortcut link. That's oldpodcast.com/Facebook. And you can request to join from there. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow for another Q&A episode where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this show and Optimal Living Daily, the brother podcast of this one. Literally, I'm Dr. Neil's brother. If you like the format of this show, you'll love Optimal Living Daily too, where I also read to you from blogs, but cover other topics like personal development, finance, and minimalism from bloggers like Derek Sivers, The Minimalists, Zen Habits, and many more. So for more amazing content read to you for free, come subscribe to Optimal Living Daily too, and together we'll optimize your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Health Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode, and head to oldpodcast.com That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift, as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.